Good, and welcome back to this final session of the day. My name's Mark Baldwin. I'm part of the Swiss chapter and also leading the professional certification program. And I'm very honored to be accompanying you in this last session. It's quite a full session. We're going to have in the first hour and 15, we're going to have 3 very compact presentations looking at the next generation. So this section is really looking at the visions of the future. We're going to have a perspective from China, a perspective from Canada, and a perspective from within the buildingSMART international community. In the second part, the final half hour of this session, we will have a panel discussion with 4 new individuals that I will invite to the stage, and then we will continue the discussion based on the presentations, looking at the next generation. What are the skills that we need for the future? What are the challenges that we're facing, and how can openBIM help us address these challenges? So as I said, we have a very full program. So without further ado, I'd like to invite our colleagues from China. We have here Lai Wei, from very well-known individual from buildingSMART China. Welcome, Lai Wei. Good to see you. We have Qiang from the China Railway. Welcome. That's why when I said. And we have Lihua from CCC. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the presentation.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all very much to give us the opportunity to deliver a program which called a buildingSMART International Project and Enterprise Certification. In abbreviation, we call that a PNE Cert. So we got 3 speakers. This is Lai Wei from buildingSMART China. And Mr. Ma will deliver an example from China Rail side, and Mr. Liu will give us some method from CCCC. And basically, we 3, on behalf of buildingSMART International, to brief something about how's going of this project or program. So firstly, I would like to give some methodologies about the certification. So I think you all know about the quality infrastructure. This is the triangle, consists of the, let's see, the standardization and the metrology and conformity assessment. This triangle is very valuable for quality control. This created by UNIDO, United Nations, and adopted by World Bank and ISO. So it's well known as a QI system. This is the methodology, I think, for us to develop the certification system. So this is very familiar in buildingSMART community. And you must know all the programs right now. So far, we are developing many standards, many methods, and many tools. In this morning, we talk about many times about golden thread. But what is the golden thread within buildingSMART? Within so many programs, within so many projects? I don't know what is it. Maybe we can find the solution and answer together. But I think in philosophy, at least, the reliability will be one of the golden threads. So I think we have the software certification, professional certification. Right now we have PNE Cert. I think through these certifications, we can create step by step to be a reliable community. And this slide, I would like to talk about what's the benefit for the all the stakeholders for the project. And to save time, maybe we just give some brief idea. We can focus on the standardization bodies. Over there is that's us, buildingSMART International. Now we created many standards already. So how the standards going within the industry, within your chapters, within your market? So that is our problem. So we are going to provide the certification, maybe accreditation for the market. So this is this page. I would like to explain the what will be the for the certifications to give. Right now, you can see the. Let's look into the projects. We have the project owners and all the service providers and product suppliers. And then we, through the projects, we will create the data assets to maybe develop into digital twins. And then we want all the stakeholders to be reliable for the project. So how to ensure this reliability? So we want to give the enterprise certificate to all the stakeholders to prove their ability. They can do that. They can do the project in a correct way. And within the project, we are using CDE. We are using IDS to describe information requirements. We give BIM services like BEP use case, and of course the FC deliverables, and then libraries. All of this, I think, we can audit and check and assess the process and the product. So these green parts plus together will be the project certification. So that's the consists of from the program. Right now we have the management. We have the documentation which describes how to go, how to audit, how to deploy the certifications. We are going to divide into the project certification and enterprise certification, but dependent on each other. And we are going to develop assessment platform which worked for the all the certification projects, and for the registration, for the auditation, for the collect the information of our project stakeholders. And this platform will be held by BISI. And we are going to have the implementation. This page is going to describe how deploy the certification system. So like this, the buildingSMART International will be in charge of creating the framework of all the system and the mechanism. And you can see the local level, like chapters. The local level will be in charge of the localization, all the framework into a executable schemes. because all the certification will be legal things in every countries and regions. So we have to think about carefully about the legal risk. So we will ask all the chapters who adopted this program to consider how to comply with the local laws or bylaws or regulations. And then we have the domain level parallels. And the domain level will basically to implement on a domain-specific basis and professionalize the certification scheme. So this is the management figure. I would like to just give a very basic idea, like we have international level and the local level. We have the management, we have work groups, we have sponsors. And then what we are now, what we are here, actually, this program is approved in the December last year. And right now we are called for the sponsorship. We are establishing the administration, and we are called for the test beds and the authoring ship. And next step, we are going to develop the conformity schemes and develop the platform. And then we are going to carry out test beds and then go to the international release. So my last page is will be what's the collaboration between all the buildingSMART certifications. I think this page will give some idea about now we have the you can see the red the P-cert about the human resources, and we have FC certification about softwares, and then we can integrate the human resources and the softwares. We will add something about the BIM process and the CDE audition and BIM data resources, BIM data like what we want. Together, will be create the project certification. And then the project certification plus together to give the enterprise certification. That's the system. And next, I will ask my colleagues from China Rail, Mr. Ma, to give some examples. Thank you.
Okay. After Mr. Wei's excellent introduction about PNE cert, and here I'm very honored to continue to share the certification part of the railway domain to all of you. Okay, and first of all, just watch this. There are 3 parts of data that can show how big the market of China's railway domain here. And briefly, just say something like by 2024, China have already completed 114,000 kilometers of ordinary speed railways and 45,000 kilometers of high-speed railways. And in this year, we'll build more than 1,000 kilometers of railways. And in future, there'll be more. So this is a big market, and especially for the railway domain. And also, the China's railway domain is undergoing digital transformation already. Actually, we're really doing extensive digitalization technology and applications. So there is an urgent demand for need PNE cert to help us to standardize the digital development. Okay, and here is show something we have been done before. We just published the guidance for digital engineering certification in rail transit. And based on it, we also established 4 validation standards and their attributes. geometry, classification, and space. And also, thanks to this work we have been done, we have finished some pilot projects related to the enterprise, personal, and projects. And also, this workflow meet the relevance of BSI standards. And finally, we just do to establish a digital engineering validation center and developed the digital engineering, digital assets, validate, and certification platform to help us to make sure these digital assets, they meet some sort of standards and with the FC format and can be delivered and can be used well in the construction and the operation and maintenance period. Okay, and this picture clearly shows, I'd like to give an example of it. Just from here, the construction period, and we just build the digital engineering with the FC format and transfer it to the handover period. And in that period, we have laboratory validation and on-site validation platform to help us to guarantee these digital assets that can be delivered and can be well used in operation and maintenance period. Okay, and this slide shows some technologies we have been used, like the FC format, EIR, BEP, and also this circle, like the CDE. And you can see it's the certification and validation between the maintenance and operation and constructions. So, and also there are so many works we have done here because of the time limited. So if you are interested in it, want to know what kind of things we exactly doing, please feel free, to contact with me. Okay, let's move on to this part. I wanted to show what kind of works that we have been done related to the PNE cert, but it's not really the PNE cert, just some work that we have been done before. The first one is enterprise certification. Here in China, over 100 enterprises in railway domain has been do the enterprise certification for such as quality management, environment management, occupied safety management, and so on. Okay, and here's the personal certification. And in this part, in China railway domain, we have over 227 railway professionals. They have successfully passed the exam and get the BSI certification. Also, here's the core element here. I'd like to introduce two pilot projects we have done before, and this is really related to the certification and really do useful things in our construction and maintenance period. And this is named Jiuquan pilot project railway. And also in this pilot project, we just developed the validate platform that can automatically to validate the FC format, digital engineering, and also to make this to guarantee this digital engineering, digital assets that can be well used in construction and operation maintenance period. And also this pilot project is a winner in the category of Handover 2023 buildingSMART Awards. It's the last year, Okay, and the second pilot project is Xining to Chengdu Railway, and this involves in tunnel and a bridge in construction period. So this pilot project is only in the construction period. But here we just do the two things. One is for the enterprise certification, and we use such as EIR to improve information sharing and collaboration efficiency. And also do the project certification. We use the validation platform to help us to guarantee the digital engineering that can be well used through the whole construction period. Okay, next part, what can we do next? Like the expansions, right? As I mentioned before, that two pilot projects, we just do some limited measures. So we think we can to expand into more than 20 specialized fields within the railway, and also can expand it into various industry, including urban railways, subways, and other related fields. Okay, this slide is, I think, it's sort of things that can match the Mr. Wei's introduction before. we can still do something like to deeply explore the requirements, right, from the equipment manufacturer, designer, contractor, even operation and maintenance party. And with these valuable requirements, it can help us to do some sort of things like optimize validation and certification document system, and help us to update our assessment platform. And after that, with some valuable digital engineering, we can do more application and implementations, right, in the construction and in the operation and maintenance period. Okay, as I mentioned before, that sort of things, and I just can say the 4 main parts: the enterprise certification, project, software, and personal certification. These 4 aspects can fully strong support the quality of digital engineering projects. Okay, let's move on to the final part. What will PNE cert bring to the railway domain? And actually, I consider this for a long time, and I just put 3 parts here. The first one, I think it can ensure the accuracy, standardization, and reliability of railway digital engineering at different stages, such as like some digital assets or digital engineering with high quality, right? And they are validated, they match the standards, match the requirements, and can be well used in the operation and maintenance period. Okay, the second, I think, about it's good to the digital transformation and the digitalization level, maybe to speed up and to give a high level of the digitalization in railway domain. And the last one, as other people mentioned in the morning, right? We are globalization, we are a bigger group, and we work together. So that means we can share, right, the requirements, the technology, and even some results in some pilot projects. So this can help us to make together to make to enhance the international credibility, and even to use the digital assets, and they'll be really well used in construction and operation and maintenance period. So that's all what I want to introduce today. Thank you for listening.
Lihua Liu from CCCC, China Communications Construction Corporation. I'm the deputy chief engineer. I'm the chief engineer and the deputy general manager of CCCC, Second Harbor Consultant. So my presentation today is that the first is about how do PNW, this means port and waterway engineering, need PNE cert. Because by now, port and waterway is the mainstream model of global transportation, and also it played a very irreplaceable method. So the potential of the port and waterway market is huge. According to the forecasting in China, by the year 2025, the freight volume will reach to 8.5 billion tons, and the total port cargo throughput will reach to 16.4 billion tons. And 2,500 kilometers waterways will be improved to national high-level waterways. So it is important is that by now, the port and waterway is in the stage of intelligent development. But the standardization level of port and waterway is relatively low, and which does not match the development of intelligence. And we lack digital certification method for a project and the enterprise. What have we done for recent years? First, we developed IFC port and waterway standard. In the year 2017, CCCC signed MOU with Cardiff University and buildingSMART to cooperate the development of IFC port and waterway standard, which it will be transformed into ISO 16739 this year. And in year 2018, we become the member of BSI Strategic Committee. And in the year 2023, CCCC proposed the IFC Port and Waterway second phase, and it were launched research works approved by BSI. The second work we have done is that we promoted openBIM technology and studies standards. We promote openBIM technology application and establish the standard systems of port and waterway in China. We can see this pyramid, the foundation, the bottom of the standard systems. We can see that the bottom one is international standards. It's including IFC, IDS, and the BSDD. The second layer is national standards. It's including unified standard for BIM or standard for BIM in construction. The third layer is alliance standard. And the most important part is industry or association standard. We issued some industry and association standards, such as unified standard for application of BIM in port and waterway engineering, standard for application of BIM in port and waterway engineering design, as well as construction. All these standards we are based on IFC and IFD. The top layer is enterprises standards. The next work we have done is that we explored the openBIM certification technology systems. We have explored the construction of digital certification systems, including the certification content, certification standards, and certification technologies and implementation. The bottom layer of this is the certificate content. Is including the factor, the participant, and the process of the certifications. And the second layer is standards. Is including IFC standards, national standards, and industry standards. The first layer, the supporting layer, is the software technology standards. And the first one, the top one, is the implementation of the certification. It's including the product certification, service certification, managed system certification, and so on. And we also published the evaluation guide for building information modeling application capability in port and waterway engineering, and established the capability evaluation systems of port and waterway in China. The left side is the group stand of this evaluation guide. And the evaluation systems we can see on the right hand, it's including the personal certification, project certification, and the enterprise certifications. And the first work we have done is that we got the personal certifications. We actively participate in the personal certification organized by BSI, and we already obtained some personal qualification certificates. The first work we have done is that we implemented engineering project based on openBIM in the year 2017. Based on IFC standard, we carry out the project, the application of BIM technology in design and construction of the second phase improvement project in Heisa Shore Navigation Channel in lower reach of the Yangtze River, which won the Special Excellent Award of BSI Award in year 2019. Another project is that the Harp Jetty project as a key promotion project of China-Pakistan economy corridors. Is the first jetty project in Pakistan built in the open sea areas. We recommend these two projects as the pilot projects for a project and enterprise certification program to promote the application of PNE third program in port and waterway engineering. The sixth work we have done is that we got support from the Ministry of Transport and Bianca. We had communicated with the Ministry of Transport of China and Bianca about the digital engineering certification and received their strong support. We suggest that BSI should strengthen communicate with the government of various countries and the global industry organization to promote a PNE third program. The last one slide is about what we should do in the next. According to our forecasting in our water and waterway transport field in China, by the year 2025, there will be more than 1,000 engineering need to be get certificated, and more than 500 engineering products need to get certificated. And we estimate that the certification fee will reach to 6.35 million euros. So we should accelerate the progress of PNE third program under certification of system framework of BSI. And we use PNE third program in port and waterway engineering projects to promote the digital transformation of our industries. This end of my presentation. Mr. Wei, this is your floor. Yeah.
Thank you, my colleagues. And right now, I would like to conclude our presentation. Okay, so just like what we said, right now we have a lot of standards, and I think there are a lot of organizations and companies, enterprises, and projects. They are using buildingSMART standards, and they are using the buildingSMART tools. And I think this is the correct time to let all the parties in the industry, they can use the standards correctly and prove them. That's why we have to develop the PNE cert. And of course, we have the professional cert. We have the FC validation and the FC certification, and all the conformity system will ensure the reliability. So here I would like to clarify that even though there are a lot of examples from China, but this program, the project and the enterprise certification is one of the strategic project in buildingSMART International. That's why this program is open to you, everybody, even including your chapter, your companies, vendors, and all the organizations, all of you. This program is open. So of course we are calling for some sponsorship. You know, the financial is very important for us to drive this program into healthy. So in advance, there are a lot of sponsor levels. And I would like to see this just a proposal. We need confirmation from BSI. And anyways, we are going to give some more details to you and welcome you to join us. So thank you very much. And again, welcome you to join us. Okay, thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for this presentation, for this great insight into what's happening in China. And I think we're all impressed with the volume of projects that are being delivered, but also the enormous amount of development work that is underpinning the success of these projects. And I think these closing remarks are really important. For me, most notably, is the importance not just using openBIM standards, but ensuring that they're correctly used. And this is, for this, we need a compliance program. Thank you very much.
Okay,
excellent
thank you. Our artist.
Yes,
yeah, so I like this image.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's jump to another corner of the world. We're going to go to Canada, and I invite to the stage Claudia Cozzitorto, representative from buildingSMART Canada, and with her Farzad Jalaei, who is part of the national research body in Canada. We look very forward to this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us and this opportunity to speak about our recent work in Canada with the National Research Council of Canada. So buildingSMART Canada became a member of the international community, the buildingSMART international community, in 2011. And before I begin and dive into our work, I'd like to give a bit of background on Canada. So there we are over here. Canada is a very large, geographically large country. It's so big, in fact, that from coast to coast, we consume 6 time zones. This does prove challenging when we're trying to implement new standards and reach the industry at such large distances. We have a population of 40.5 million people, and we're unevenly distributed along the southern border. Again, challenging when trying to reach so many people along such large distances. Officially, we have 2 official languages, English and French. However, Canada's a multicultural country, and lots of languages spoken throughout the country. We have 10 provinces and 3 territories and hundreds of municipalities within the country. We also have a 3-tier government, and we still lack a national BIM mandate due to that fragmented government structure. So due to that kind of government structure, buildingSMART Canada has taken a middle-out approach to help mediate between industry, all the industry sectors, and the many government bodies. So in 2013, we released a roadmap. It was very well received, but was some time ago. And what we're doing is looking forward into the future and needing to update this roadmap to guide industry into where we want to go in the future. So the National Research Council of Canada has engaged us to do 2 things. The first was to understand the current state of openBIM implementation in Canada. And the second is to conduct an analysis of the international openBIM implementations. So we reached out to all of you, the buildingSMART international community, for help and feedback on what was happening within your chapters and your countries. And the feedback was incredible. The advancements that we found were that there's much progress already happening in many sectors of the world. And we were also blown away by how much you were willing to share with us, both in your successes and your lessons learned. So earlier this year, we released this publication as a result of much literature review and the engagement happening both nationally and internationally. And what we learned was that in Canada, we saw high adoption rates within the architecture, engineering, and construction sectors in design and construction, as well as within the vertical asset industries. We're seeing a lot of uptick in the owner and infrastructure sectors. We also saw innovation and expertise in the country, but it was inconsistent across all sectors. And there's a great demand for standardization from all sectors as well, the need for consistency in workflows and data exchange. In our international analysis, we saw that there were many areas that we wanted to look at. So the 4 main criteria were examining interoperability requirements and the efforts towards standardization, how technology and innovation was being operationalized using openBIM, the type and quality of knowledge resources that were available within the countries, And then we wanted to evaluate the role of government within the organizations and countries. So our findings were that advocating for open standards is just one aspect, that what we actually need is relevant references that state the business benefits of implementing openBIM, that is the way that policymakers, owners, operators are really going to understand and adopt. We also understand that there was and saw that there was a lot of enthusiasm around new technologies, and that standardization of data exchange only enabled that further. So that was exciting. We also found that the significant openBIM knowledge resources that were available by other chapters was quite amazing, and we've already begun to mobilize something like that in Canada. Again, was highly sought after. And then last, the significant role of BIM mandates guiding the industry was instrumental in driving industry and digital transformation. So in addition to the 4 areas of primary interest, we also looked at openBIM and how it was leveraged for environmental efforts. So decarbonization is so critical, and I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about it over this coming week. And we observed that there was a lot of movement towards leveraging openBIM for this sustainable efforts. Canada's no exception, so I'll pass it over to Farzad to demonstrate what we've been doing in Canada as far as LCA and openBIM.
Thank you, Claudia. Good afternoon, everyone. It appears that I like buildingSMART International Summit a lot, because a year and a half ago, for the very first time, I announced the platform of National Research Council to decarbonize construction sector at scale for the very first time. And right now we are here for the very first time to announce the publication, the first publication of this platform jointly with buildingSMART Canada regarding openBIM implementation roadmap. For those who are not quite familiar with National Research Council, we are a research and development arm of the federal government of Canada with around close to 4,000 employees who are sitting in offices nationwide. And they are in working in different disciplines. Construction Research Center with around 450 employees. They are working on different disciplines of construction sector, from infrastructure to building envelope to even environmental psychology, and also like a team specifically looking into the decarbonization activities and life cycle environmental impact assessment. Almost a year and a half ago, NRC has announced the platform to decarbonize construction sector at scale, because as I mentioned, as a research arm of the federal government, we are committed to move towards the targets that government of Canada committed by 2030 to reduce the GHG amount by 40% compared to the target numbers at year 2005, and moving toward the net zero carbon target by 2050. And also, like, based on the statistics, the productivity of construction sector has improved around like 5% past 2 decades. So it's not quite a good number. So this is why we are trying to move the construction sector based on like adopting the language of decarbonization and enhance the productivity by kind of like have our contribution to this commitment. I showed this figure like a year and a half ago. The first integration layer is related to transforming and revitalizing the current prescriptive codes. We have 3 specific codes: National Building Code, Fire Safety Code, and Energy Code in Canada. And mostly the content is prescriptive basis. So the plan is to revitalize the code. So the codes, Canada is the receptor of 2 parallel challenge programs that you can see on the left and right-hand side. The left-hand side is the Low Carbon Built Environment Challenge Program, Life Cycle Environmental Assessment Excellence Center, who is taking care of like doing R&D activities related to lower the carbon, either embodied or operational from material perspective, to energy consumption, and also like working on developing the Canadian specific data sets, life cycle inventory data sets, or even like working with industry and manufacturers to develop the environmental product declaration type of documents in terms of like moving towards the decarbonization. And also, like, we are supporting the decision support tool development as well by that program. The right-hand side is construction sector digitalization and productivity, which I'm going to mainly talk about that challenge program that I'm part of the leading team of this program. In this program, the big goal is to work on those 2 specific keywords, decarbonization and productivity, through different lenses, either moving our current prescriptive codes to become machine readable, and also like working with industry and academia in terms of bringing in more performance specific language to the codes to make it more performance based and machine readable, and adopting the concept of openBIM and IFC as well. The digitalization layer in the middle, digitalization of the construction value chain for improved design, compliance, and operations, is looking into any specific digital construction solutions, from openBIM to standardization, data integration, moving towards digital compliancy checks, e-permitting, and developing the relevant guidelines and standards regarding that. And the third theme under this program is looking into advancing the modular construction for accelerated low carbon solutions and retrofits. So any translation of digital signals into the physical action by using the robotics, 3D printers, and also like building offsite is in scope of that specific theme. From collaboration with industry, during past year, we have started reaching out to the industry partners and SMEs. As you can see, the openBIM implementation roadmap is the first outcome of this type of collaboration, since we are trying to scan the environment to see what are the success story in the international practices, and how we can transfer that knowledge into Canadian market, and what is the current state of Canadian industry in terms of adopting this new solution from digital solutions, from openBIM, IFC, and there's no doubt, like from this morning, we heard many times that openBIM and IFC enhances the productivity. So this, and we are no exception. We are going to adopt this language into the kind of like all aspects and activities that we are doing. So similar story in terms of improving at scale adoption of offsite and advanced construction, and also like developing the performance-based codes, specification, and guidelines, since NRC is owning the codes and national master specification, as well as the Canadian Construction Material Center, who is responsible for kind of like certifying the construction specific materials. From R&D perspective, we did quite a better job in terms of developing a our R&D roadmap, because we are researchers at heart, like academic people at heart. So we kind of like, similar to the openBIM roadmap, we are in process of publishing our R&D collaboration roadmap, which is going to be published on an NRC website like in coming weeks. 10 specific R&D areas that has been announced in this roadmap, as well as different stages of involving R&D projects, from research planning to kind of like identification of needs, development, pilot standards, or deploying the project. And the outcome will be shown or presented as either knowledge resources, tools, and technologies, or other type of policies and mandates. As the off-the-shelf solution, and in terms of life cycle environmental assessment, NRC has published the guideline for whole building life cycle environmental assessment. And in that guideline, for the first time, we adopted the concept of BIM and digital solution as a quite robust technology to transfer the bill of works into LCA practices. By that, after implementing this roadmap, openBIM roadmap with buildingSMART Canada, we switched into the openBIM concept, and we tried to become kind of like software neutral and adopt the language of technologies that buildingSMART International has introduced, from IFC to BSDD, IDS, and BCF. So what we are doing at this point is to work on two different type of ideas in terms of validating and verifying any IFC submissions for embodied carbon and operational carbon. So at this point, the user interface looks like this. We are adopting, we are accepting any IFC submissions, and we are trying to first work on some type of check engine type solution to verify that IFC model against LCA purposes at different stages of life cycle, from production type, A1 to A3, to construction practices, to use stage, to the end of life. So at this point, we are using the IFC submission. We can view the model with IDS for embodied carbon. We are checking and verifying the model against containing the specification. Currently, we are just looking into the CSI specific uniformat and master format, because we are using this master format as a common key to link these two worlds together: bill of work extracted from BIM or IFC, and life cycle inventory dataset or available environmental product declaration, to kind of like use the master specification to link them together in the back scene, at the back end of this kind of decision support tool, and make that automatic data mapping happen at different stages of life cycle. So right now, from the LCI perspective, we are using EcoInvent, which contains around like 700 data sets of Canadian material data. And also, like, we are adopting the OpenLCA engine as a kind of open source engine to put all these aggregated and mapped data into that shell and create the CO2, kilogram CO2 equivalent per the unit function of that specific material or assembly, or even at the whole asset level. So along with the contribution tree detail of the results that we can get out of the LCA. So this kind of like standardize and harmonize the whole data aggregation processes and help us to come up with the robust benchmarking number at the end, as much as like we are increasing the number of IFC submissions. So this is the current practice that we are doing at NRC, and we are aiming for enhancing this work and kind of like enhance the collaboration in different aspects with industry and academic partners. Like from this April, we are going to have an open call in terms of accepting the expression of interest. So if you have any innovative solution or improvement type solution, recommendation or proposals, please reach out to us. And also like buildingSMART Canada is another point of contact or avenue to bring you over to us in terms of defining the collaborative work together. So I will leave it to Claudia for
Thank you.
final remarks. Thanks.
So as Farzad said, and our belief is that transformation happens, it's all about people. And so we welcome further collaborations. It's been invaluable in helping us move forward with our roadmap. This research project was helped set a baseline so we understand where we are today, as well as understand where all the great work is that's happening globally can help inform our future roadmap. So with that, I'd like to also thank you for your collaboration with us and helping with Canada's digital transformation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Claudia and Farzad, thank you very much for
Thank
this
you.
excellent presentation. I mean, one of the big messages, I think, Farzad, you picked up on so many topics that are going to be discussed in the following days.
I know.
It was very intense, but great topics around sort of, building passports and further issues that are going to be picked up. But I want to bring one thing, sort of a framing, the location of the locating of Canada, not just geographically, but really recognizing what had been done around the world. And I thought that was tremendous that Canada took that time really to sort of look at what's been done. And then the closing remarks, it's about a collaborative effort. We're learning from each other. And although we have country and project specific challenges, we really face global issues and we need global solutions. So great message. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good. So now we have the last presentation, tour de force from buildingSMART International. And with few words, I invite to the stage Richard Kelly, Operations Director from buildingSMART, Artur Tomczak, who's the Product Manager for the BSDD, Arisca Droog from the airport domain, and of course Schiphol Airport, Bertrand from Schneider Electric, and Gerard van der Veer from Hoskoning, and also part of the airport domain. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. This is us. Richard Kelly. I'm an employee of buildingSMART International, and as is my colleague Artur. Also joining us on stage is Bertrand, who works for Schneider Electric and is part of the electrical domain, and Arisca and Gerard, who respectively work for Schiphol Airport and NACO, which is part of the Royal Haskoning Group, and they're part of the airport domain. So you heard earlier today about how the core standards of buildingSMART are going to be delivered through strategic projects. What I'm going to talk about is how we're developing the domains of buildingSMART, the processes for the domains, so that we can mass customize those core standards and use them in the implementation of openBIM to meet the industry requirement of our various sectors. Now, we have multiple sectors at buildingSMART International. We call them domains. And this is what we're going to be talking about. So before I get on to that, oh, and by the way, 80% of our members are on a domain steering committee because they want to be able to steer the direction of openBIM for those sectors. And as I say, you'll be hearing from two of them very, very shortly. So before I get on to that, I want to talk to you about requirements, outputs, and outcomes. And the way that we are now organizing our procedures and processes is that we will start by the domains steering committees and the people who are representing the industry in those sectors being able to put forward their industry requirements. In other words, the BSI members' needs. And these will be produced through a use case, and that use case will be put forward as an activity proposal, which will in turn will get developed into a project plan. The project plan will be detailing how these requirements are going to be delivered. And by the way, we'll also put them into the use case management service, which is part of the core offering of buildingSMART International. The next phase will be to actually deliver the project. So this is the important work. This is where the requirements are turned into something that can be used. And the reason I've drawn this one in pink is because the language that's used by these people is they have to understand about openBIM processes to a degree, and we will always appoint a project leader who understands about openBIM processes to a deeper level. Whereas those that are putting forward the requirements, they don't need to learn, they don't have to speak in that language. They can speak in the language of asset owners, of contractors, of the AEC industry. And the outputs of the project will be to either update the buildingSMART data dictionary or to create some IDS files so that you can find the information you require. And my colleague Artur will talk a little bit more about how we do that in a moment. And this will all be determined, the procedures for doing this, for delivering a project will be determined by this new determinator tool that we're creating, so that there's no mistakes made, so the outputs will be good quality, so that you know that it's going to be done to a robust methodology. And eventually, of course, we have outcomes, and the outcomes are the realized business benefits. And again, this is now talking back in the language of people who are in the industry who want to actually, improve productivity, make better decisions. They want to have better whole life management value delivered and understand what their return on investment is by having interoperable data. So that is the summary of how we're going to be delivering projects in the future. Requirements, outputs, and outcomes. Remember those three things. Very quickly now, over to Artur.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Artur Tomczak, the BSDD product manager. And I will quickly say how do we do it in practice by starting with the IFC. You all quite well know IFC. This is product of decades of collaboration between stakeholders from different countries and across different sectors. And apart from the very important technical layer that tells us how to define the geometry, relations between objects, it also has this semantic layer. So the terminology that we use on projects, there are thousands of terms in IFC spanning, among others, building elements, rails and roads, HVAC, and many, many more. But it is not always enough. We need more specialist terms, and this is the role of buildingSMART domains to come up with those, because they are the experts in their own domains. They know the industry quite well, and they define those extensions to IFC, such as airport electrical, which we'll hear in a moment about. We have a sustainability group, also experts in their own field who come up with the terms that we need to conduct our work. But it's not really practical to release a new version of IFC every time we want to add new properties or new classes. That's why we have a practical solution for that. IFC has mechanism to extend it with new terms. And to make it even more practical, we can publish those in the BSDD platform. And BSDD platform is a database of those terms that we are all using, and it helps to apply it in practice. And it's not just a place for buildingSMART community content. We also have other organizations publishing in BSDD. And after we have this global repository of different terms that we want to use, we can use it in practice by putting this into IDS specifications and IFC files, our BIM data. I have here an example combining 4 different dictionaries. So IFC allows me to define an IFC space, which is enclosed by walls. And it doesn't have a concept of sauna. So if I want to classify it as sauna, I can use a CCI classification and just enrich my IFC with this term. If I want to use properties, I can use those from IFC, but I can also use those, for example, from the E-team. In this case, there is a very practical allowable relative humidity, which I can use and add it to my data. And if the theme of this conference is sustainability, if I want to follow sustainability standards, they already define how I should deliver the data. So I can use those terms because they are already published in BSDD as well. So now let's hear from domains how they actually agree on those and how they conduct the work. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move to the electrical domain. So what is our ambition as the electrical domain? Our ambition is twofold. Is first to bring more electrical staff into the BIM environment, into the IDAs, BSDDs, this kind of stuff, and also to bring more electrical players in the BIM workflow. When I say electrical, we target everything that is electrical within a building, below the counter. And our ambition is to serve and improve the efficiency during the design phase, the build phase, the operational phase, and of course for sustainability, because don't forget that during 30 years, the cables and the breakers and all this electrical stuff will heat and dissipate some energy. So we were asked to explain what are our challenges. The first challenge, that we have is to create a truly interoperable exchange format, which starts by three targets. First target is to enrich and harmonize the dictionary. Artur just presented the BSDD. For electrical staff, if we are improving the dictionary by introducing or pushing for introduction of E-class today, maybe tomorrow the IEC Common Data Dictionary would be welcome also in the BSDD. Second point is to improve the data model to describe an electrical network by enriching the IFC or using the IFC, using the IDS. And also, third point, to leverage something that is coming from the lab domain, which is to leverage the tech box. There will be a conference the day after tomorrow about the tech box if you want to know more about that. The second challenges that we face is we have a huge task to cover. There are many electrical objects not yet either in the dictionary nor in the IFC. So to target that and to be very practical, we decided to use a use case methodology so that we can go progressively and deliver value added as quick as possible. Third point is a coordination. There are not so many electrical people here in the room, and there are many things going around in the IEC, in some local initiatives. So we have a lot to do into coordination and aligning what is going on here, but also in the E-class, IEC, and other industry domain. Because, and that's the link with the fourth point, we have the chance, or the malchance, as electrical, to be anywhere. We have electricity in buildings, but in ships, in process, in tunnels, in airports, in everywhere. So we are awaited a bit everywhere, and the challenge is to bring all this together. We cannot afford to have an IFC model for building and have a SIM model for utilities and have something else for oil and gas. So we need to merge this, and that's where we are awaiting a step forward. Will the IFC 5 be answering this question? But a leapfrog with some technologic improvement. I will say the big word. Is graph an answer? And I leave the floor for the report.
Thank you, Bernard. And bringing this all together, you gave us a mighty bridge. We have to bring everything together. An airport is just like a city who is expanding, who is changing every day and rapidly. To control this rapidly change, we need an informational language, a language that connects everyone. And in that sense, if we have that language, a domain has the functionality to add to the language specific elements, specific words to that. For that reason, we look at airports from a domain perspective. A number of these elements are already defined, but a specific number aren't. So therefore, as you can see, we analyze the airport, we can add words, what we think is necessary. And for that, we have a way of working our entity project.
So the Airport Entities Project, so just in a nutshell, the workflow that we decided on by identifying the airport-specific objects. Step one was to gather input from different organizations. We had 6 organizations deliver a list of airport-specific objects. And we kind of combined them, removed the duplicates, came to a consensus on the naming, created a mapping to IFC, and we translated the list to different languages. We then categorized the airport objects so that we kind of could use it for the different specialists out in the world. And then we created surveys for each category so that we could collect input from the specialists because there's only 5 of us working on the Airport Entities Project right now. And it's not up to just the 5 of us to come to a list of objects, decide on the naming, decide on the mapping, decide on the user and predefined types. So we created the survey to get more input from people. Once we got the results from the survey, we analyzed it. We went through all of the answers from everyone that delivered input, and we published the final list to the buildingSMART Data Dictionary. We started with the baggage handling, and we kind of used the baggage handling as like a test to see what we would run into, what kind of input we would get from the specialists, from BIM specialists, from other airports, from baggage specialists, to kind of use that for the processing of the next surveys. And it definitely created a few next steps. For one, it's the airport domain property sets. So we have the chute, for example. We got input where they came up with the fact that we have parallel and spiral chutes. So are we going to create 2 different objects, or are we going to look into properties specifically for the airport domain? At the same time, we also need to come to a consensus on objects that are not airport specific. So there's definitely a few in there that are very crucial for airports, but you can find them everywhere else as well. These were the results from the baggage from the surveys, which the baggage handling on top. And as you can see, we got a lot of input from a lot of people all over the world. So people do want to help. They do want to be part of this, even though they might not be here today. They definitely gave us a lot of knowledge and input on the surveys. So we got a total of 181 responses. And for the baggage handling system, we got 65 in, I think, 5 different languages. So that was really exciting. However, moving forward, the next steps for the airport domain is definitely collaborate with the other domains. So we need to connect, exchange knowledge, discuss governance, work towards a consensus on objects that are relevant for the different domains, and maybe create a collaborative project in the future. Thank you.
So thank you all very much for this great presentation. This is really a look under the hood, so to say, and a great kickoff for the next couple of days. So thank you very much. One standout point was Bertrand's point 3. So it's all about liaising and coordination, and Arisca, you mentioned that with other airports and across the domain. So really important message. Thank you all very much. Okay. Our job is not yet done. We have a small final session. I'd like to invite you all to the living room here. We're going to have a look into the future to wrap up this session, looking at next generation thinking, next generation skills. And I'd like to invite the panel to the floor. Nuria Matarredona docentes from the University Politecnica della Venezia. Welcome. Anita Soni from Skanska, UK. Yeah, please take a seat. Welcome. Veljko, adjusting his microphone from Bexel Consulting, and Rodrigo Koerich from Brazil. Welcome, and please take a seat. We'll just wait a moment for Veljko. So what we'd like to do in this session is maybe reflect a little bit on these very intensive presentations that we've had, and look back maybe with a couple of spaces. What are the challenges that we're facing, and what are the skills that we need? And maybe, Nuria, I start with you. You have a background both as an educator and also working with the government, and perhaps you can sort of frame from your experience and maybe reflection of the presentations, what do you see as the sort of the big challenges that we're facing with our industry and in our society? Specifically, how can digitalization and openBIM help address these challenges? Small question.
Correct. Thank you. Let me start thanking the organization for such a great event. We're having a great time, and we're really enjoying this summit, and it's an honor to be part of this amazing panel. And what a question you raised right now. I think, and after having enjoyed the previous talks, I'm even more sure that the fact that the main challenge that we're facing right now has to do with the climate emergency. We are aiming to be neutral in carbon, in our carbon footprint. Also, for example, in our hydric footprint as well. And if we want to be neutral by 2050, as in Europe, we have many things to do. And the information that we have right now, actually last week, it was presented a Beyond Foundations report made by Global ABC and United Nations, the environmental program, and they say that we're still off track. So even though we're doing plenty of efforts, we're still off track, and our footprint, carbon footprint, is still rising. So there's a lot to do. But one of the main issues probably is that how can we get better if we don't have data enough to know what's the current situation? So actually, probably this is one of the key issues linked to openBIM and to this process of digitalization. It's not just being digital because I think it's just modern, fancy, or whatever, that as well. But it's because we really need to be, in order to be sustainable, to have a digitalized environment. So probably this is one of the key issues. And just let me tell you just one couple more things. Yeah. Today, the EPBD, the new directive regarding how our buildings have to be in order to be carbon neutral in 2050 was just approved today by the European Parliament. And last week, when the first Global Forum on Climate and Building was celebrated in Paris, with many nations taking part of it, there was this declaration, the Declaration of Charlotte, that was approved as well. And one of the key issues raised was that if we need to operate the Paris Agreement, we really need to make collaborative value chains, to keep on promoting research for innovative solutions, and we need to coordinate between stakeholders. And this is all openBIM.
Yeah, fantastic. So if we stick with that, this big global challenge that we have, and of carbon footprint, and how we measuring this with openBIM and digital technologies, maybe Veljko, I could bring on your experience, many years experience in the software industry. And what are technology companies contributing to addressing this challenge?
Yeah, first of all, great to be here and congratulate buildingSMART International and of course buildingSMART Spain for this excellent event. So we are really glad to be in beautiful Valencia, enjoy here. So just regarding the opportunities and challenges, one thing, and openBIM implementation, one thing I see as the greatest challenge and opportunity is situation in construction phase. And still, I have to say, we appreciate, and I am always congratulate to all of you who successfully implemented BIM in all stages, but special congrats to the ones who did this in the construction phase. This is the phase with most of the challenges, and on the other side, most of the opportunities for cost saving and optimizations. And just one thing regarding carbon footprint, what you mentioned, that I remember last year we all miss this time in Valencia, Christoph, but he, in his presentation, they did analysis that 50% of carbon footprint is generated in construction phase. So if we just make this process 20-25% shorter, and we can do that, we could have a tremendous direct cost saving even without any new product or optimization. So, and if I may just say for younger generations, so first of all, because of all these opportunities, I strongly support all those contractors to have even larger, if possible, teams dedicated to this information management. And if I may say one suggestion for younger generations, so do not focus on, if you want to be successful, try to really focus on return on investment, so clear measurable benefits. And if I may say another thing is not, I really, I'd say, accept only one new role now, so information manager. Everything else, because we are dealing with data, everything else, we should not use the words, that's my opinion, of course, BIM coordinator or BIM manager or 4D planner or 5D estimator, because I said I don't understand what your role is, but use highly professional design manager. So I'm not a BIM coordinator. I'm actually design manager who use professional data and BIM data in a most efficient way. I'm not a 4D planner. I'm a project planner or project control manager. I'm not the 5D estimator. I'm a cost manager, or I'm not the 6D safety or energy analysis BIM guy. I'm a safety manager or energy environmental engineer and manager. And that, when we replace the standard roles or enhance them, this will be a huge opportunity for younger generations, because then they could be a core of project management team and not just the side part, which, to be honest, is happening a lot now, where you have a traditional project managers and as a side a BIM team. That's why I strongly believe the younger generations should focus to be core of project management, and that will be, I honestly believe, rewarded and appreciated by their companies.
Yeah, great. So, I mean, of course, we all want to have a life cycle view of a building, and particularly in relation to carbon. But I really appreciate what you're saying, that we, in every phase, we have to get the benefits out. You spoke of construction. I want to jump to Anita. You work for a very large construction company in the UK. Perhaps you can talk a little bit about how that's being realized in projects.
Absolutely. So actually, similar to, I think, the China presentation earlier, we are responsible for the design and build. So what I think has worked really well is how we're using openBIM during design. We're definitely coordinating, we're doing that exchange, and then with the designers and then into the delivery teams and disseminating that information, like you said, to the planner, to the commercial person, to the design manager. But what's tending to be the challenge is when you hit site, you've got all your proposed design information, you've got the data behind that, but then how do you capture the actuals and all that information on site? And that's where the biggest challenge is. And I think that's to do with the people, the data, and the technology. I'm not saying the technology isn't there. I think with technology, you then need to have the right upskill. And I think when projects that I've worked on, they tend to last 5 to 10 years. technology changes, people change, the information that you need to capture changes. So I think there's definitely been a bit of a challenge then gathering that information from site, whether the health and safety, the environmental, the quality information, making that accurate and consistent. I think there's definitely an opportunity with openBIM. It's just you need the subject matter expertise to then help you define the data and the standards. And that then links to the future generation. And I think I would say it's all about being data literate. That's where they need to be focusing on. And the next generation, they've grown up with the sustainability topic. The built environment is responsible for 40% of our carbon emission. So they are starting to be selective of what industries and what jobs they're choosing because they actually want to make a change. So we need to make it attractive, and we need to show that we're being savvy from the carbon and the sustainability aspect. But also, at the end of the day, construction has very low profit margins. So we need to improve our profitability, and that is all going to be through data sustainability.
Great. So you're really, this is a really good input. It's leading us to where we want to go, which is looking at the skills. You talked about data literacy. We've had a bit of a European perspective here. Rodrigo, I'd like to bring you in as maybe a spokesperson for the industry in Brazil. And if I can say sort of South American, do you see different challenges in that part of the world compared to what we've heard here in Europe?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for this, participating in this panel. Yes, maybe in Brazil, I believe that it's seems in the same in Latin America. We have a lot of challenges. Maybe first of one is the people understand that they move from the modeling to manage data. So I'm absolutely agree with you, Veljko. Now we are still working and educating people to understand that the data could be the real value that can be added by BIM. We have a lot of work to do there because we need to move the government to understand this value. The BIM mandates that we are building in Brazil, now we have a good BIM mandate to improve the government procurements. But we need to prepare the professionals, architects and the engineers also to be understanding the benefits. And the challenge, maybe it's proved to them or they understand the return of the investment. So it could be reached, and at least I understand it, using or improving the process that we can get more benefits from the BIM process to reach this return of investment. So this, I believe, that can be the main challenge that we are look to work on. And of course, looking for the next generation, you need to look for the new engineers and architects in the universities and put them with the mentality not focused on the modeling, but focused on the data and the process that is the real core situation. I believe that is about this.
Okay, that's a great bridge back to Nuria. You just talked about the next generation. What are the skill sets that we need? And now as an educator, Nuria, what do you see as the skill set that we need to bring to the next generation, or what skill set do they bring to the industry?
Actually, like it's interesting, for example, the Sustainable Development Goals, there's the last one of them that talks about alliances. And I think one of the most important things to achieve these goals that we have right now, these main challenges, we need to learn to cooperate. We need to learn to collaborate. So we need to learn about all of these tools that help us to keep on doing things all together. So probably this is one of the main, the most important things new generations have to learn. It doesn't matter what kind of tool, as you said before, we need to be using, but it has to be something that it's open, that it's collaborative, and that lets us co-design, taking into account the different stakeholders that take part of the building process. Actually, like this idea of the elixirs of innovation, where like academia, the public sector, the industry, and the society, like all of them do work together. It's probably the main tool to achieve this sustainability that we aim right now. So probably these new generations will be more collaborative, and we need to learn more about that. We need to experience that, and we know that the building sector is changing. We know that the building sector has to change, and it's going to be probably more sexy in the future, and it's going to have more gender perspective, and it's going to be more sustainable, and probably that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Yeah, you spoke about sort of the need for collaboration. We saw that in the last presentation, that there's a real need for sort of working in small cross-disciplinary teams. I mean, buildingSMART International is an example of that, working across domains. And we often speak about the T-shaped individuals. So they have a specialization in a particular area, but then they have a sort of a generalization so they can communicate with other disciplines. I also agree this is critical. Anita, bring it back to you. Let's say your position as a potential employer. What skills are you looking in the next generation when you're looking for the new staff? What are you hoping that they bring to your company?
I think just generally as a civil engineering company, we need to have them to be more data literate from their university or their previous whatever qualifications they have coming in, because I think that will massively step change how they're then interacting with the data rather than it being forced upon them, and then collaborating, encouraging that collaboration. I think not enough is done, I can speak for the UK, around integrating digital and data within construction. We talk about the technology way too much, I think, and about the tools. They talk about, I can say this because I was a PhD student, we were taught Revit, but we weren't taught about the actual benefits of Revit from the data perspective. It was more about the modeling perspective. So just nuances like that, I think just truly understanding the data, because then I think that will bring in the creativity aspect of when we then need to improve our processes or streamline them a bit. It's quite a niche response, but I think but that can be said across all of our next generation. And I can see, so I've got a nephew, he's 5, he's coding already, and he's already building his own apps and streamlining. So I really hope that is the future, because then that'll keep us on our toes and keep us more productive, streamlining our data.
Yeah, data literacy again. And of course, I mean, we're producing a lot of models, we're creating big data. How do we manage this data, Rodrigo? Particularly, I also want to add to that, you know, we're talking a lot about sort of generative AI and machine learning. What is that bringing into the mix? What skills do we need, and what's the future going to look like?
Okay, I guess everyone believe that the data is the real thing that make change the thing. So the problem is not have the data. Now we have some problem to have and manage this data, but in the future I believe that is not the problem. The problem is how we can do with this data. So I believe that the next generation should, first of all, understand it's not about why, it's not about what or how, but why I should to use this data, and how can I use it to transform and build better. So the ability or the capacity of the people to understand this data using the machine learning and AI is to compare or using. For instance, I have a lot of alternatives to build. I can consider costs, I consider carbon footprint, I consider a lot of criteria, how to manage all this information and transform this huge amount of information in good and make decisions. So how can we train the people and the young people, the new engineers, to get good decisions using all this technology, new technology to make decisions? I guess training this is the real challenge for the new engineers, new architects.
Yeah. In a small conversation we had earlier today, you brought in this term BIM as business information model. I love this. Can you talk about that?
Yes. Yes. BIM as building information modeling as okay, this is the standard, but I believe that BIM will be business information management.
Right.
This is the real future. We have the data, and we can use all the technologies to transform data in valued information. It will be about business. And business is not about money, not only money, but it's about environment. So I can choose different solutions, different ways, and save money and diminish, or it can be less waste, materials waste, using this kind of information. It's about business. This is business management.
Yeah, I agree. This business in the broad sense. I mean, when we talk about sustainability, we talk about environmental sustainability, social and economical. And so we have to have those aspects. And as you talked about this business information management, I also thought about maybe it's also business intelligence, business intelligence management. Maybe that's the next step.
Sorry, the I could be intelligence, could be information, could be innovation, could be a lot of things.
Yeah, we'll leave it open. Yeah, that's great. Okay, I'm going to give you a hard question now, Veljko. You've got a huge background in this industry. I mean, I was just fascinated, I think, as many of you are. We've been talking about AI for decades, and then suddenly something like ChatGPT sprung on us, and it just really transformed things. I mean, I work at a university, and the way students are working now has completely changed. Can you look in your crystal ball? What do you think might be the next big technology jump that's going to really transform the industry?
So thank you for this great question. So essentially, you don't need to be a great visionary. Everything what you both or all of us mentioned. So it's about, of course, AI and machine learning. So I will connect this with the concept of single source of truth. So if the data is organized in a professional manner, so it's not just raw data, but organized information, then AI algorithms and machine learning could give us a number of benefits. And of course, the second part of equation is automation, because if we have to manually create data, instead of, for example, what you mentioned, intelligent way, collect data from the site, then we can really manage this. If we have to do it manually, simply it won't work, because we need to create automatically huge silos. So it's about smart workflows, automation, and so on. And if I may, I know that in the following 2 days, you will have excellent presentations, but I will also invite you, if you can, come to our construction domain, 2 sessions. So one is at 11:30, and second one is at 3:30, where you will have the opportunity to also listen about AI algorithms and automation from really great big contractors like Larsen & Toubro, Ferrovial, Kojima, and Strabag. So they will really try to, from this perspective, really explain to you how to achieve this return on investment. So this is maybe something we all hope will be achieved with this smart planning and project management. And at the end, hopefully, you will be able, similarly in a way like ChatGPT, and some of this will be shown even tomorrow, just ask, where are my biggest problems in the project today? Or can you show me the most critical tasks? Or where we spend more money than we anticipated? Or who is the slowest contractor? So when you are able to ask these questions and immediately in the model this is shown to you, I believe we will really switch to a new way how to manage project.
Yeah, great. So I'm going to do a little sort of recap. I mean, we've seen, we started with these big challenges. We're all aware of the challenges that we're facing. I mean, from a global perspective, in terms of limited resources, we're talking about a circular economy. We're talking about reducing the carbon footprint. I think, you know, the overwhelming statement is that there's a huge potential in data, particularly big data, data analytics, and then on top of that with sort of generative AI. But we also heard from a lot of presentations today, and anyone in the industry, I'm also involved in projects, the data's rubbish. A lot of the case, I can honestly say that a lot of the projects I work on, you're just cleaning data, right? So, I mean, how do we bridge that gap? We see this huge potential. The stakes are high. There's really a lot. We're behind our goals for sustainability. There's a lot to do. And so I would like a short statement from each of you, and just to frame it in this session, which I hope we take to the drinks following up, you know, the challenges for the next generation. And I give you 2 words. So what's the mindset and what's the skill set that we need to bridge this gap and achieve those goals? So Veljko, I'll start with you.
I say this is really great. I would say information manager who is focused on several crucial things. So first of all is configuration management. That's the beginning of everything. And what does it include? Classifications, standards like openBIM and everything which is open and accessible, and streamlined workflows. Without that, so that's the first question we always ask in the beginning of the project. If you don't have this, then really you need to be very lucky to have a successful outcome. Otherwise, if this is sorted out before project commence, then you really need to do a lot of bad things in order to have a bad outcome at the end. So this is crucial in the beginning, and that's, I hope we all try within buildingSMART to do.
Great. Thank you, Veljko. Rodrigo, what's your mindset, skill set for the next generation?
The mindset is understand that BIM is about transform data in business, and business that get value. And this value is the why we should change our mind to do different that we do now. This is the mindset, and the ability, it's this understanding, this different mindset to look for data as business.
Yeah, that reminds me of that very famous quote that, you know, we can't solve the problems with the mindset that we had that created those problems, right? So we have to, yeah, really good. Anita,
sorry, just feeding on that point, I think there's that, the whole with the 19650 and the organizational information requirements, that's a huge opportunity to capture all the information data standards that all the disciplines need for a business operating model. So I completely agree with that. I think just to turn it on its head, I would say what people now need to do is think about the sustainable use of the data that they're capturing now. Can this be used for the next project? And can it be used for future projects via machine learning, via AI? But just to help them in the future. So just be mindful of what you're capturing now. Is it useful for tomorrow's projects?
Great. And Nuria, the final word, what's your wish, mindset, skill set for the next generation?
I just remember this quote that says that if you always use a hammer, you can just have nails. So the fact is that we really need to change like the kind of tools. So probably asking different questions will bring us to have different answers. And probably the key is transforming the institutions in order to let them cooperate and collaborate. And I guess openBIM helps us to do so.
Brilliant. It was a real pleasure sharing the stage with you. I think we're going to continue upstairs. Thank you very much for your contribution. And Aidan, I hand over to you. I think no one's allowed to leave the room. We have a photo.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mark, and thanks to the panel. I think we just have a few concluding remarks. Really interesting, some great insights, and I think, you know, today felt like a bit of a journey that we went on, much like the letters that we see here. They went through different phases and things like that. So I think we've come to a very good alignment across the top. I also talked this morning a bit about getting out of our comfort zone, and it feels a bit like our industry has to come out of its comfort zone in order to meet some of these goals that we have. So I hope that this is something of a sort of story that we can think about, that we've got to move ourselves as an industry out of our comfort zone to meet these challenges and inspire the next generation, which I thought was really interesting. So thank you. I just want to thank all the speakers today. Certainly really inspired by a lot of those things, and also what was covered was, I thought, really interesting. I'd also like to thank all the moderators that we asked to step up, including Mark, Christina, and Jose. I thought that was really nice to have that. I'd like to just quickly hand over to Sergio, just a few closing remarks as well from the chapter before we hand over to Dan.
Thank you, Aidan. No, thank you, everybody. We know that today, the first day, is always a long day, and probably you're tired. But just, you know, we have a photo, we have a cocktail later, so just you have to wait just a few time more. So I only want to say thank you to Marina. I think she's an artist, so please a big pleasure. Okay, Aidan, Dan, some small details.
Yeah, it's already been said. We're going to take a group photo now. And then after that, we do have drinks upstairs. So please, everybody, start to make your way up to the stage. Be gentle with the openBIM, it's fragile. Gather around it, but not on it. And then follow us, and we'll guide you upstairs. Everyone's welcome, so please do come and have some drinks as well. And there'll be the announcement of the fellows. Come on up.
I want to thank you all.